Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, here in the Armorers Guild in front of Guildmaster Nanza, where I want to do the Heavensward Armorer quest. Now, I'm pretty over-leveled for this quest, but you never know, right? The Breaking of Blanstyr. Forgemaster Nanza has a favor to ask of you. Ah, Desiree. The very armorer I was hoping to see. Have you a moment or two to spare? It's about Blanstyr. Ever since he lost that contest of the AR quests, he has been keeping his distance from the forge. Then one day he simply appears as if naught had happened and starts banging out a breastplate on one of his anvils. He crafts an entire suit and mumbles something to the effect of understanding the true nature of armor. When I ask what he was on about, the daft sod says he intends to don his own work, then go looking for battle in the wilds. Now, Blanstyr is a big lad, but he couldn't fight his way out of a fishing net. I tried to talk him out of it, of course, but you can imagine how that ended. Which brings me to your part in this, Desiree. I suspect he'd be more willing to lend an ear to someone whom he's not so inclined to despise. You'll find him loitering in his usual spot, if you're of a mind to convince the stubborn Orworks. Well, look who it is. Listen, lass, I know Nanza sent you. Just keep walking your own path and I'll walk mine. I've been doing a lot of thinking these past moons, see? And I finally found my answer. I learned the secret of armorcraft not in the flames of a forge, but in the heat of battle. And if I die in the doing of it, I go to my grave with no regrets. Don't try to stop me, Desiree. And you can tell that forge master of yours to keep her twitchy nose out of my business and all. That didn't go so well. Sorry, the outpost wouldn't listen to you either. It seems an excess of self-reflection has sent his thoughts down an odd track. You're no stranger to combat, Desiree. Mayhap you're still the right lass for the job. I want you to follow Blanstyr. Quietly, mind, and see that he doesn't get himself killed. Assuming he sticks to his ridiculous plan, you'll find him out near the ice. Are you injured? It was fortunate we happened by. You are more like to harm yourself with it flailing and slay your intended opponent. I must say, however, I do admire your devotion to your craft. Mayhap we shall call on you the next time we have need of an armorer. Safe travels, friend. I thought I was a dead man. Clad myself in my finest armor, but I could hardly move, let alone fight. Who'd have thought a rat could give me such grief? A bleeding rat! Mean little bugger he was. But as I stared death in its furry face, I had myself an epiphany. I've got to get back to the forge, and then I'll be ready to try again. What are you doing out here anyway? Well, I'll leave you to your business. I can hobble back to Limbs on my own. Thanks very much. Fresh little adventurer group saved him. Level-wise, probably mid-20s? From the looks of it. So, from the gear look, I mean. Well, I'm glad to hear the old bastard survived his foolishness this time. From the sound of it, though, he doesn't intend to stop there. I know you have more productive things to do than mind a full-grown man, but can I ask you to stay near to Blanstyr for a while? If you can't reach him with words, then mayhap you can guide him with craft. Speak with a man, and offer to aid him with his work. And while you're teaching by example, you might even learn something new yourself. Hey. Aye, it ran the most heroic of battles, but even a brief scuffle like that made me realize somewhat. I ain't never spared much thought for the folk what are wearing me armor. First you try to stop me and now you wanna help me? Make up your bloody mind, lass. Alright, I take you on, but I can't promise that you have much to do. I've searched the depths of me craftsman's soul and come out with a whole new view of things. From now on, I'll be putting myself in me customer's boots before I forge a piece. I've mapped me course, and it's straight run from here to greatness. Yeah, and because that is so, we have nothing to do for the next 3 or 4 quests, is it right? Lightheaded. You're still willing to swing that hammer for me, Desiree? To this, I've gotten myself into a bit of a bind. Do we call them ventures what saved me from the unholy rat? Well, they've commissioned me to craft a piece of them. And as much as I'm trying to understand their needs, the request has got me as baffled as a nugget-brain novice. Maybe you should talk to this Blanstyr bloke and hear the details directly. He should still be waiting over by the wench. Greetings. You're Master Blastyr's assistant, then? Aye, that's right. Me, assistant. Thought you should hear the job directly from the customer's mouth. Very well. We mean to challenge a creature of significant might and seek to seize every advantage. To that end, I would commission a quality piece of head protection for our monk, Sasapico here. Sasapico the Snake, they call me. I gotta strike swift and deadly, and can't be wearing no heavy helmets. Cramps me style, you know? It was a try to even convince him to wear body armor. Thus I must ask that you craft a helm sturdy enough to afford protection, but also light enough that Sasapico scarcely remembers he's wearing it. See what I mean, Desiree? An impossible request. I vow to consider your client's needs. Has barely passed your lips and already you cry defeat? What do you want, Nanza? If you come to feed on me misery like some self-righteous leech, then you can bloody well bugger off. I came because I can't countenance you throwing a commission back in a customer's face after you've arbitrarily labeled it impossible. I'd wager Desiree here could forge a piece to meet those specifications. When it comes to crafting light and serviceable armor, both leatherworkers and carpenters have a wealth of experience. I suggest you head to Gridania and seek the advice of their respective guildmasters. And what would they bloody know? They don't even work with the same materials. You're wasting your time this way, but I'll let you make up your own mind. Is that the only way he can ask for help? Proud, insufferable old outgoat. Show him how a proper artisan handles such a request, Desiree. It would seem the job is now yours, Mistress, Desiree, was it? I'm excited to see the results of your labors. Start by going to Gridania. Now, I'm both a leather worker and a carpenter as well, so this is one of those situations where I ask, why can't I use my expertise as an expert in this already? But no, we go to the guildmasters. Okay, Guildmaster Beaton. A metal helm? And I thought I detected the stench of a forge about you, Desiree. I must feel to feeling somewhat betrayed. But I shall not be so petty as to deny your answers, child. As you well know, before one even puts saw to wood, one must first consider which variety of lumber best suits the properties of a piece one wishes to craft. The same can likely be said of armor craft. Amongst the many metals available, surely there's one that retains its strength even when beaten sufficiently thin to meet your needs? And Guildmaster Jeva. Branching out into other disciplines, Desiree. If you recall my Jeva patterns, you already have the answer to your question. Always craft with an eye toward minimal waste. This approach also respects the life that was taken from material by making the most of every strip and square. In this case, however, you may simply need to take care that you have not added unnecessary weight to your quest of sturdiness. As I said, this is something that, if you have these disciplines already learned, you should know yourself already. Because that was what these two answers were. As you know, this and this is to be considered. No answer. Well, what did our artisan colleagues have to say? So in other words, keep it simple and choose a light, sturdy metal. Not exactly revolutionary ideas, but certainly fine points to keep in mind. If we're talking minimalism, then our best option is probably a mask of some kind. As for the material, titanium would be the strongest for its weight. Finally, the overall design should complement the swift striking style of your client. Hammer out a piece and deliver it to Blanstyr. And that is a titanium mask of striking. Now I prepared materials in advance. Mistress Desiree, 'tis good to see you. You've brought the armor we requested. Yes. You actually crafted some of them? Let's see this impossible piece of yours then. Is this titanium? It's so thin, but you've shaped the mask so the arcs and curves reinforce the weak points. It's bloody genius. I love it! I can jump and spin and barely feel the weight at all. I'm most grateful, Mistress Desiree. Now we needn't fear a stray spike or claw slicing open our dear monk's face. Mayhap we shall call upon your services again in the future. I reckoned you was on a fool's errand talking to those other guildmasters, but look at what you have accomplished. Seems me eyes ain't been open as wide as I thought. Next quest. Fancy Lancer. What do you want? More work, is it? Well, I took on another job from that conjurer and his mates. Somewhat for the Lancer this time. Did my best at it. Fortunately forged until I thought I had a piece the client be pleased with. But she took one look at me work and turned her bloody nose up at it. Not pretty enough, she says. And I told them they can take their fancy Lancer and toss her into the damn sea. Blanstyr is still lurking near the wench, but I doubt even you could satisfy that over particular pig-sticking lass of this. I must always look my best. Mr. Desiree, I had hoped you would be along. Your colleague appears to have abandoned our commission in a fit of pique, and left poor Barella here bereft of her promised armor. Oh, he made me some armor, alright, but the style was absolutely dreadful. How can I possibly perform legendary deeds looking like an oversized kettle? Imagine the portraits I would paint. Imagine the sculptures. As you can see, she is quite particular about her appearance. Thus, I would task you with crafting her a cuirass that is as eye-catching as it is unyielding. Mayhap Forge Master Nanza would deign to offer her experienced opinion, as she did the last time. So, we're aiming for fashionable and functional. That takes us into the realm of goldsmiths and weavers. You'd best head to Ulda and call upon the wisdom of their guildmasters. And same as last quest, I have these jobs already and should know the things the guild masters will tell me. So it would have been cool if you had your own input into this and not just ask for help if you have these jobs already. Alright, serendipity, hello. Desiree, think of adding precious metals to your endeavors in armor craft, are you? Well, the Sultan's Swan once was a ceremonial plate that featured the most extravagant embellishments. But such delicate adornments would not survive the harsh demands of combat. What you might consider then is decorating the parts of your armor that are less likely to be struck. The edges and hollows, for example. At least, that is what I would do. That sounds reasonable. And also a lot cheaper than making it too fancy. And Redolent Rose. Desiree, you seek to apply the sensibilities of weaving to your effort in armor craft. How strange. I but recently spoke on a similar subject to a rugged Rogadin fellow. He seemed a tad embarrassed to be asking, but listened with an earnest enthusiasm nonetheless. I fear I become rather passionate in my instruction, and lectured overlong on the merits of form versus function. But to return to your query, I would ask that you consider the use of color in your design, and not simply the choice of hue. Even the same shade can have drastically different impact when enhanced with a lustrous glossy sheen. So, decent ornamentation in places that are less likely to be hit as not to damage the design through combat. After all, you want to keep looking stylish. And use colors. Well, what did the artisans of Ul'dah have to say? I see. Then I would suggest a darker hue for the main surface, burnished until it gleams. Decorate the edges with a brighter metal. Rose gold should do nicely to provide an eye-catching contrast. Again, titanium is a fine choice for durability and strength. This was for Blanstyr's Lancer companion, yes? When forged cuirass fit for a queen, and your client shall soon be maiming her enemies in style. A titanium cuirass of maiming. This one, however, needs to be high quality. Now, woman, let's get you into something a bit more robust. How is Barbarella's armor coming along? Don't tell me you forged some of the spear-wielding she-demon actually approves of. Hold still a moment. It's so simple, but the rose gold gives it that hint of extravagance. You've outdone yourself, Desiree. Aye, and I especially love the colors. This might be the most beautiful cuirass I've ever owned. My thanks, Mistress Desiree. Aside from the armor's obvious beauty, I can see it has been carefully crafted to withstand the rigors of combat. And now that you have addressed my concern with Barbarella, that only leaves some... is this why you called me here? To spend more of your coin on gear we don't need? Van Maga, you should be the first in line when it comes time to replace our equipment. Our lives depend on your ability to engage your foe face to face. You need new armor. The suit I have serves me just fine. You should look to your own abilities, healer. If you went so sluggish with your spells, then maybe we wouldn't have to rely on expensive armor to save our hides. Sluggish? How many times have I saved you from the brink of death? 'Tis your seeming fondness for injury that forced me to consult with armorers in the first place. You think I enjoy being wounded? How many times have I risked my life to save yours? If this is the thanks I can expect, then you can try fighting without me. Work away then. We shall find a replacement soon enough. The way they argue now, you'd not think they'd been friends since childhood. Looks like adventurers with their own problems, huh? But I have to say, finding the right armor to craft their ridiculous requests ain't one of them. Your work was masterful. I tried Desiree, I really did. Even begged that Weaver bloke in Ulda to teach me somewhat about design. But it seems I've had a lot to learn before I become the sort of artisan what understands his customers' needs. Nance is the one I should really be talking to. As Forge Master, she's had years of experience in crafting to meet the client's wishes. If anyone will know what I gotta improve, it'll be her. By Godspeed. I never thought the day would come when I'd fall to my knees to beg for that harpy's help. It's time I changed my ways. Alright, Blanstyr. What's our level 58 quest? The Reforging of Blanstyr. Desiree, I've had another commission from that conjurer bloke, but I got me hands full learning lessons from Nanza. Do you think you can take the job for me? You'll find Benater and his crew in their usual spot near the Drowning Wench. Need some matching earrings. I feel extra fierce in this mask. Accessorizing. So for next fall, yeah? My apologies for that unpleasant scene you are forced to witness, Mr. Desiree. As matters stand, we have had little luck in recruiting a new gladiator since my falling out with Van Maga. I first decided to have a shield made to offer as a bonus to potential applicants, and was hoping to have you forge it. I'm however entirely unsure as to what manner of shield would be suitable, and considering the heated words we exchanged, I cannot very well ask the advice of the only gladiator with whom I am acquainted. Would you be willing to speak with Van Maga and research the matter of a shield in my stead? It would seem he left on a journey to Ishgard, ostensibly to rendezvous with some secret lover. Knowing Van Maga, however, this lover was not but an excuse to put some distance between us, and he's likely forgotten that outsiders require permission to even set foot inside the city. I'll imagine you find him pacing before the gates of judgment, freezing in his decrepit old armor. Okay. And you don't think this will be suspicious if I suddenly come and ask him what would be a good shield? Is he that stupid? He didn't appear to me like that, but I have barely spoken to him, so. And I believe the items I looked up, this one was the wrong, because I remember distinctly that there was another armor, not a shield. No, it's a hoplon, it's good, okay. I cannot believe I would deny me passage. This is a matter of holy adoration. I must be allowed to meet my goddess Halone. Ah, the armor from Linza. What's the talk of shields? Forget your trade for a moment and answer me this. Are you able to enter Ishgard? You are? Then would you be willing to complete my pilgrimage to St. Reminaud's Cathedral and pray before the statue of a Fury in my stead? Ah, my beloved Halone, beseech her to watch over my companions, and then I shall share my thoughts on this shield business of yours. And pray. You've prayed for my beloved, then? My thanks. I take my devotions quite seriously, but I fear Benater and the others would mock me for it. Now, as for this ideal shield you seek to craft, I suppose it would change depending on the gladiator you asked, but most would appreciate one that didn't drag on their arm as if it weighed a ton. You're obviously familiar with titanium. The metal is light and strong, and I, for one, would be overjoyed to own a hoplon crafted of such material. I hope that answers your question. Okay. No need to forge in the middle of a blizzard. Mr. Desiree, can I assume that your presence means that our new gladiator shield is ready? Right, nonsense done lecturing me. Let's have a look at this piece you've been working on. Me eyes. Never seen titanium polished so bright before. It's like someone out of a storybook. A superb job as always, Mr. Desiree. With such a shield as an incentive, we shall soon have applicants falling over themselves to join our party. I've posted a recruitment notice. Now we have but to wait. What are you doing here? I thought you were too good for new equipment. I came for the free upload, but I never would have bothered if I'd known who had posted the offer. I'll not accept aught from you. Why must you be so stubborn? Is it so hard to accept gifts from a friend? It is, and I'll not take so much as an eel pie from you until you spend some coin on yourself. Even the armor I'm wearing now was bought with your purse. For a sum I could never have afforded. I truly appreciate all you've done for me, but for the love of a XIV you cannot continue to adventure in those rags. Your head is so filled with concern for the lives of your companions that you fail to care for your own. Well, Marga, I never knew you felt that way, but how could I not put you before myself? After all, your role places you square in harm's way. And yet, speaking honestly with you scares me more. Forgive me, my friend. I would rejoin the party if you'd have me. Of course we will. You're the only gladiator we trust. Now, I promise to consider my own protection. So, will you just take the shield? With pleasure. This hoplon is a masterpiece. What a surprise. How did Benetton know what when Maga would come running for a shield he'd always wanted? And it's impossible that Von Maga could have guessed who posted that recruitment notice in the first place. What are the odds? Aye, but what are the odds that I'd get the more perfect chance to serve my customers? Von Maga, I forged you some new armor, and it won't cost you a single gil. And I've got a weaver friend who'll sue you some fancy new conjurer garments for the price of the asking. You speak truly? Why, this would solve all our problems in one fell swoop. I'll not be too proud to accept your generous offer, Master Blanstyr. If you might forge me a set of armor to match this wondrous shield, I'd be eternally grateful. You want it light and sturdy then? Right. I'll be back as soon as I'm done. This titanium plate makes me feel invulnerable. I cannot thank you enough. And these robes are the most luxurious I've ever owned. Thank you, Master Blanstyr. Ah, I was glad to help. All part of the service. Well, my friends, we are as ready as we'll ever be. Let's engage our terrible foe and show ourselves worthy of these gifts. But your gladiator is not wearing any pants. I knew talking to Anza was the right choice. Under her tutelage, I've become a different man. You might even say that I've been reforged. Did you notice that too? That gladiator wasn't wearing any pants. Okay. The pride of the melee. Blanstyr seems unusually excited. Ah, Desiree, did you hear? Our venturing fangs is back from the monster hunting. I say we go give him a big old Minson welcome home. Nanda should come along too, so she can see how well me armor held up. I'll fetch the Forge Master. Go on ahead to the wench if you like. They don't look excited. I thought we were done for. I hope nobody saw us. What in the seven else happened to you, Lord? The creature, we barely escaped with our lives. I was too slow with my spells. No, I positioned myself poorly. Listen, if there was a problem with my armor, then you'd best tell me. Don't lie to me, lad. I need to know if my work's not up to scratch. You'll not hurt my precious feelings, I promise you. Aye, it was the armor. It's as light and strong as I could have wished for, but too tight around the shoulders. I couldn't swing my sword the way I wanted. I didn't think to adjust the plates for a gladiator's range of movements. So much for understanding my client's needs, huh? Desiree, I got a new commission for you. Right now, me crafting ain't good enough to forge the kind of equipment one Maga needs. But yours is. I'm asking you, as a colleague and a customer, to make him the finest armor your hammer can manage. What have we done to deserve such kindness? You saved my life, remember? And maybe with the right armor, I can help save yours in return. You're a good man, Master Blanstyr. Come, my friends, let us ascend to Bulwark Hall and make preparations to meet our nemesis once more. I appreciate your help with this, lass. And just to make sure there's no mistakes this time, I'll be headed to the Gladiators Guild to ask what style of armor works best for them. This change in Blanstyr is unsettling. I almost prefer it when he's spitting insults at me. In any case, the armor's design may not be the only factor worth considering here. I shall visit Ulda myself and speak with her miners concerning the recent excavation efforts. Meanwhile, you should join Blanstyr at the Gladiators Guild and assist him with his inquiries. Meet me at the Miners Guild when you have the answers you need. Can I talk to Miller also for this? No, not really. Got bored of waiting, did you? I'd have been back by now if these damn sword swingers would only stop training long enough to talk to me. I already tried asking the stern-looking lass over there, but it seems she doesn't like me disrespectful tongue. You'll have a word with her, will you? Alright, I see if I can get the attention of one of those other blokes. Right. Putting our answers together, we're looking at a piece what's heavy on the protection of the chest but allows the arms a full range of movement. Sounds like a lawbreaker to me. Which is exactly what I was thinking of after hearing of Van Maga's troubles. This was a long way to come to learn something I already knew. At a Miners Guild, is she? Well, let's see if the Forge Master had more luck than us. I had some good tidings from our miner friends. We had fought all sorts of adamantite or had been exhausted, but I'm told that new seams were recently discovered in lands that were once part of the Allagan Empire. And with a supply of adamantite ore, we can resume production of adamantite, a metal much favored by the ancients. Not only is it incredibly resilient, it's also valued for its unique elasticity. Aye, if there's no give, then harder metal tends towards cracking. Can you imagine a Lorica made of that adamantite stuff? No, that's what I call ideal armor. There's my commission for you, Desiree. Forge one Maga an adamantite Lorica, one that will fend off even the most savage of blows. I'll leave you to it, then. See you back in Limsalas. In order to complete this quest, you must have learned advanced recipes contained within Master Armorer 3, which you can buy for a script, which you can get through gathering collectibles and turning them in. And an adamantite Lorica of Fending. And with that Lorica, we go back to Blanstyr, apparently. Ah, there, yeah, there's the way. I've been itching to see this adamantite creation of yours. I've never seen the like. Even a behemoth would have a hard time scratching on that thing. The whole piece is so light you'd never think it were made of metal at all. Aye, you exceeded all me expectations. And while I've been busy forging this beauty, Nanza and me have been putting together a little surprise for the rest of the party. I even had me weaver made stitch up a new hat for Blanstyr. Everything we had we poured into these gifts. There'll be no complaints this time, Desiree. Here, you should be the one to bear the pride of the melee. Head down to Bulwark Hall and hand it over to those adventurers. The Forgemas and me will be right behind you. Onward to victory with style. Greetings, Mrs. Desiree. You have brought gifts for all of us? Pieces of armor crafted by Forgemaster Nanza, veteran armorer Blanstyr, and you. Hardly feels like I'm wearing armor at all. Nothing to stop me springing and stinging. That one's mine. I stripped the design down to its bare essentials for maximum mobility. Aye, this gorgeous helm leaves bare my best features. I can already picture myself weaving through our foes in a deadly dance, an epic tapestry waiting to be woven. I made that one. Took the lesson of 2 separate guild masters, but I finally forged somebody you approved of. Yes. Yes, I like this. I feel not the slightest resistance to my movement. That there masterpiece was forged by Desiree. The perfect design craft from the perfect metal. If you lose to your quarry with that on your back, don't bother coming back at all. I cannot thank you enough. Now I might concentrate on healing without thought of shabby equipment clouding my judgment. No more excuses, my fine companions. We certainly look the part of heroes. Now let us prove that we are such in truth. Onwards! Off to a dungeon or whatever. I've never much been one for encouraging folk. I never knew it could feel this good. Getting beaten by you all them years ago was bad enough, but after losing the same contest to Desiree, in front of the Admiral no less, I lost my way as well. If those venturers hadn't saved me, might have never found the path I'm on now. Thanks to them, I've learned the value of listening to me clients. But more importantly, how to listen to me colleagues. To me, armorcraft was somewhat you mastered alone. At worst, a colleague was someone that dragged you down, at best a rival to spur you along. I was always trying to distance myself. I see me mistake now. I see how it stunted me growth by shunning the knowledge and support of me fellow artisans. Desiree, Forgemaster, you could have given up on this bitter old Orworks, but you didn't. For that, you have my deepest thanks. You pushed everyone away, from the greenest novice to the oldest veteran, and the last thing I expected was to have you ask me for help. Mayhap now we can work together to raise our craft to new heights. Aye, after learning your lesson, I reckon me works better than it's ever been. I reckon I might even be good enough to challenge you to another contest. Aye, you've certainly come a long... Wait. What was it about the contest? 3 rounds, winner takes all. I've got to get back to my forge and start crafting me some ingots. We're Sue's best now, Forge Master. Did we not just talk about his rival business? Well, a little friendly rivalry is good for the guild, and even a Forge Master should be kept on her toes. Do your worst, you old buzzard. I'll be ready for you. Good luck, Guildmaster. This concludes the armor quest for Heavensward. Once we're in Stormblood, talk to Ninza for the Stormblood quest. Now, one thing I wanted to look quickly. As Blanstyr has new to say. You've changed my life this way. I've made some mistakes, aye, but me head's on straight now. You just watch, I'll be taking everything I've learned and prove to Ninza that old Blanstyr is not ready for the scrap heap just yet. That contest is as good as won. I wonder. I can't talk to Ninza because there's a quest in the way. Greetings, Desiree. I must thank you again for the patience you have shown with Blanstyr. As ever, you are the living embodiment of everything for which your skill stands. I would like to say that Blanstyr has mellowed after his time working with you, but it seems he has merely swapped one brand of stubbornness from another. The old Orworks is perfectly serious about this contest of me. But if he thinks to outforge the Forge Master, then he's best think again. My work for Nalik Valleys comes first, of course, but I will sacrifice sleep to craft me competition pieces if needs be. I might be enjoying this rivalry despite myself. There's a certain thrill to matching one's work against a competitor that cannot be found in hammering out commissions. I'm glad to have him back. Alright, but that shall be it for this questline. Until next time, when we play more Final Fantasy XIV, I'm Ace, and don't get lost.